All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is we're talking about the Yieldmax ETF distributions. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to estimate 3 Yieldmax distributions. We're going to estimate TSLY, TSLY. We're also going to estimate squares, SQY, and also CONY. So these are the 3 dividends that we're going to actually be taking a look at. We're going to take a look at their stock charts, we'll take a look at the underlying assets, and I'm going to tell you guys my current thoughts on what I think dividend yields might be and the dividend payable amounts might be into your accounts. And so if that does sound good, please do remember to subscribe. We actually just gained 2 subscribers in literally 30 seconds. We're up to 3,795 subscribers. We get to that 3,800 subscriber marker. That would be fantastic. Our last video is doing pretty good. You know, it's doing not bad. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed. A little update is I actually did just receive my clip dividend. So if you are kind of a subscriber to the channel, if you are a member of our community, which is a better way to put it, and you guys hold clip, you should probably see your dividends. They came in for me January 2nd, which was yesterday. Today is January 3rd. And the reason why it's so crucial that I make this video today on these Yieldmax funds or distributions is because the 2024 Yieldmax ETF Distribution Schedule just came out. Now take a screenshot of this if you guys want this for yourselves, but this is the declaration date, ex-dividend date, record date, payment date. So the 4th will be the declaration date. So TSLY, Square, and CONY will all mention their dividends tomorrow, and they will go ex-dividend on the 5th. So you must buy either today or tomorrow all these Yieldmax ETFs because they will go ex-dividend on the 5th. So that is just a little heads up. I hope you took a picture of that so it's in your camera roll and you guys can have that for 2024. So without further ado, why don't we get into it? So TSLY, let's start here. The reason why I chose these 3 actually is due to the fact that I own all 3. TSLY, I have the biggest position, 100 shares. I have a position in CONY as well, which is 4 shares, and a small position as well of 10 shares in SQY. Now looking at TSLY, the past few days, TSLY's price has kind of slipped down a little bit. They've been up and down throughout the day, and I've actually been looking to sell half of my position of TSLY and potentially put it into SQY, or sell half of my position of TSLY and then reinvest it back at a better price. Now, when we're looking at the dividends, our last month's dividend for TSLY came out to $60. Bro, $60. It did for me, but it was 60 cents just because I own 100 shares. But it was 60 cents. And so will we be receiving a bigger dividend than 60 cents this month? Long story short, my answer I think is no. The reason being is because when we look at it, November 1st, we were at roughly $205 for Tesla, which is the underlying stock, and it rose all the way up to about $240. Now for December, we're starting about November 30th, December 1st, we're at $238. Well, look at our current price point. We haven't really moved in terms of that price point, and that's how TSLY and the Yieldmax funds generate their premium. It's off volatility. Now, I do understand that in this current time period, we went from $238 all the way up to about $260, which would have been a decent month and could have generated a bit more premium than this 60-cent marker. But the thing is, over the past 5 days or so, we've seen a pretty significant downtrend in Tesla, which has obviously translated to TSLY as well. And so I think this dividend is probably going to be closer to this 57-cent marker. I think it's going to be less than 60 cents. I'm not sure where it's going to be exactly. Hopefully, it might even be less than 57 cents. It might be closer to not 44 cents, but I'm going to say 50 cents. But I do think it's definitely going to be less than 60 cents. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Now, and by the way, everything I say is not set in stone. This is just kind of my opinion, but I do think it's going to be less than 60 cents. Now, moving over to Square, SQY, we kind of see a similar thing in all the Yieldmax funds because Square is a company that I kind of followed recently in my channel, which I kind of do really like, and they have kind of fallen off a cliff here. But it's not, it's not so terrible. You could see here in their year price chart, actually, let me go back 5 years. You could see that they kind of bounce in between this like $40, $50, and $80 price point. Now, Square actually hit about $80. It was a little higher than 77. It was about 80. And they retracted down just in the past couple days. Looks very similar to Tesla's share price chart. But you could see they've been retracting down to pretty much similar levels to when they paid their last dividend. And so I think Square's dividend, they paid a huge dividend the last time of about $2 or so. could see here $2.14, but I do think that is going to go significantly down. I think we might see a dividend closer to a dollar marker or even less, potentially 70 cents, potentially 80 cents for SQY. And the reason being is because in the previous month, when they paid this $2 dividend, they had this massive run up in the underlying stock price. If I could just bring that up, they had this massive run up from $40 all the way up to about $60, which, you know, is pretty good. You could see here in their underlying, they were about $63, $65 at the start of the month, and they're currently at about 68. So we still might see a little bit of a dividend. It's going to be higher than this 43 cents, I'm going to assume for sure, but I don't think it's going to be as high as the previous dividend because they just didn't have that much volatility, didn't have that much of a run up. Now, everything is obviously based on how the fund managers at Yieldmax schedule their options and what they put for their options. So if they anticipated this downfall, then potentially we could see better premiums, but we're going to assume that they didn't, just because they probably are going bullish on everything. They want everything to appreciate, not depreciate. And so I think that the dividend is going to be slightly less than $2, maybe about $1 or so. That is my estimate for Square. Now, going to CONY, we see something very similar here. These are both very high yielding funds, with SQY being about 104%, CONY being 112%. Looking at their share prices, CONY had the exact same thing. It actually kind of happened a little bit before Square, but their share price has been trending down a little bit due to the share price depreciation in coin, the underlying stock. You can see over the past month here, it traded all the way up to $186, and that is now down to about $150 or so. So what does this mean for CONY's dividend? I think this dividend will also be significantly reduced. I think it's probably going to hit back to about these $1.20, $1.07 levels. I think we might see $1.20, and that's due to the fact that they still had a little bit of a run up. You could see here when they started November, they kind of stopped here at about $124. They appreciated all the way up to $185. And if CONY held this level, I think we would definitely see another $2 dividend, something like that. But the fact that they did trend back down they started here the month at about $133 and are now currently sitting about $153. I think we're going to see less of a dividend, but it's still going to be a good dividend. I think it's still going to be about $1.20, maybe $1.30 for CONY. So that is something to keep in mind. So this was just a little review on the three Yieldmax funds, TSLY, we have Square, and we also have CONY. And the reason that I wanted to do these was obviously I hold these in my account. They are also the most highest yielding dividends from the Yieldmax ETFs. Obviously, they're all subject to change because every single month the premiums change and the dividends will change as a result. But these ones are the popular ones. These are the ones that I hold. These are the interesting ones that I find. And what I'll be looking to do is definitely adding to my Square and potentially my CONY position, depending upon how much they get beaten down, but definitely looking to add to Square, SQY, long term. Not so sure about CONY because it definitely fluctuates a lot with the Bitcoin market, but that's something to keep in mind. So any future updates, I will definitely update you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please do remember to subscribe. We're up to 3,795 subscribers. I want to say thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about my estimates or maybe your own estimates down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.